everybody, Kerry Henwood. Thank you for coming to my YouTube channel. Thank you for subscribing to the channel, and thank you for your gorgeous comments. Deeply, I am so moved by your words. And if you have found me for the first time, subscribe, ring my bell, and you will get updates. So today is my favorite topic, the power of the mind itself. Extensively, what a huge topic. I mean, the mind is like as extensive as the universe itself. So my mind can be like a maze to confuse with no destination, or to be like a labyrinth to have a destination. Now, either of these two things are right or wrong. I think one learns from the maze of one's mind. You can actually find direction in being lost, because you realize you're lost and you think, I have to change my life here. I have to think a different way. I have to change something around the way that I perceive my world, right? So Deepak Chopra wrote a book some years ago, I think in the late 80s, called Quantum Healing. And he said your mind is non-local. I'm like, what is that mean in those days? Now I completely understand it. Non-local means that, you know, it's just not in your brain, that your mind extends outside you. It can be in your big toe, it can be in your liver, it can be in your hair, it can be in your nails, your fingernails, it can be everywhere. You are not a closed system. I mean, get that, people? You're not a closed system. It's the delusion of separation. You know, you have a body, this is me, that is you over there. Okay. Apart from that, your mind is extending, wrapping into everything, and especially into nature. So there is the story of Jesus, of course, a man, an extraordinary man that came to this planet. And if you think about Jesus, this one man has changed every religion on this planet. We are still under the effect of one man. That is power, and that is the power of his mind that extends outside himself. They say that Jesus had an aura that was, you know, many kilometers, many miles from his physical body. How is that possible? How did he do that? Well, there's many ways that you can extend your mind. Empathy, for one, to empathize with somebody else, to feel what is happening in the presence of somebody else. Compassion extends your mind's vibrational field. Service to others expands your vibrational mind field. And then those gorgeous natures that we have being able to have the opportunity to have as human beings, then line us into what is called a quantum reality, a critical mass of infinite oneness. And once you come into that infinite oneness of self, this is where your mind starts to extend through the power of your heart, which we'll talk about a little later. That's another topic, right? So you're not a closed system. So therefore you are able to attune yourself to the external world. The mind is a very interesting thing, you know, because it works on a cyclical rhythm. It doesn't work on, you know, a flat line, like from A to B. Even time doesn't really work that way. So it's in a cyclical cycle rhythm. So here's an example of that. If you are in a synchronized pattern, right, from infinite source, oneness, aligned, you've done your yoga, you've done your meditation, your heart is actually open, you know, you're in one of these incredible spaces, you've done your breathing techniques, you've done your practice. You go out into the day, and that permeates into your reality of that day, right? You get all the green lights, you get beautiful service at the grocery store, you bump into people that want to talk to you. You've become magnetizing to the external world. Now, we've all had these moments, right? Yeah, we all have. We all wish we could have those moments every day. But this is called duality here, right? Yeah, duality. So what happens is you do your practice. Yeah, you do the things. You're doing meditations, you're doing the breathing, you're doing your yoga, you're doing your intention, you're doing your affirmations. You go out in the day, you got a flat tire. You get that done. You go out, everything that could go wrong goes wrong. You wish you never left your house, right? We've had those days. Even though we're doing a spiritual practice, we have duality. So the idea when that happens, all right, is what the Buddhists would say to go into a detached state, in a state of non-reaction. So this is where your spiritual practice is important to the power of your mind. Thoughts create your reality, and you are therefore the thinker of that reality. How you think is what is in your perception of your external world, and how you think unconsciously, subconsciously. So the subconscious can be the sabotage, because that's where the ego starts laying down some rules there, you know? This is why you do your spiritual practices. You do your spiritual practices so that you can actually bring up the subconscious mind, the lack, the insecurity, the not good enough stuff. The piece of ourselves is like, oh God, I'm pathetic. Right? You want those things out. You want those things out of the unconscious mind. So because you're not a closed system, remember? You're not a closed system. You're an open system. So the world is designed for projection and reaction. A beautiful design if you understand it. A beautiful design if you understand it. You go out into the world, it becomes highly reactive. This is where you have the power of choice. Power of choice says to you, internally, you, I can breathe in this situation, not lose my centeredness, not react, allow that person, place, thing to have its reaction. All has its design. So what happens if you don't react? You create a vacuum, a piece of energy that is in the infinite source self. Yeah. If you react on a reaction, this is the ego's world. You keep reacting on the reaction, there is no space. You've actually pulled yourself out of alignment. You can be in a highly volatile situation, right? But you're staying centered and you're breathing. Let me say here the disclaimer. It doesn't mean that you are detached from your feelings at any stage when these situations are happening. Not at all. You're actually still feeling it, but you're breathing it. You're taking in the situation. You're allowing. You're not reacting. What happens is you just unplugged the bullet in the gun of the ego, because it's based in reaction. That field of reaction, thought, sensation, situation that's going on starts to dissipate. The most important thing is that the external reality may not be dissipating, all right? I just want to get clear with this right now, is that what is dissipating is the field of energy that lives inside of you. That changes. That heals. So thought is creative and you are the thinker means that you are actually in control of your reality constantly. External reality, internal reality. So my advice in this part 1 of the video is that change your inner reality, change your inner perception of self. How do you think about yourself? What do you say about yourself? Where are you sitting? What are the thoughts that you are running? You know, the conscious thoughts inside of yourself. You're not good enough, not tall enough, not thin enough, not young enough. You know, the story. Whatever the story is, find peace with it. However that your techniques, whatever your spiritual disciplines are. Later on in my video series, we're going to have meditation, we're going to have techniques. You know, I will give you things that will help you process these parts of your mind. So start with your inner reality. Change the thought on how that you are perceiving yourself. So indigenous cultures, all of them that I have had the opportunity to sit with and talk to, do not believe in separation between the natural world and themselves, nor do they believe in separation in the spirit world and themselves at all in the old traditions. Lakota say Ohomatakuyasan, which means to all my relatives, that we live in a spider web, that which something that happens to somebody in Europe is felt by somebody who lives in America. This is true. We are collectively webbed together through the power of thought, and through that power of thought, of compassionate thought, compassionate service, constructive empathy, we get to change the world. We get to change the world through the power of empathy, through the power of compassion, through the power of service. But you know, these things, empathy, service, compassion, internally, people, got to do it internally. This is where we start. Part 1, power of mind. Namaste. Happy trails. May the sparkles be with you. See you, part 2, power of mind.